Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Arie Scherson podcast. And this one, I brought in a guest whose name is Aistis. And this guy is someone I've known for almost 2 years now. And he's one of those people that is just a complete killer that works behind the scenes that a lot of really well-known people in the space know about, but doesn't have a massive presence outside of the killers that he connects with. So this has been an incredible interview. I really loved it. I had a lot of fun talking to him. We usually have these talks and we always think about, man, we should just record one of these talks, and we finally did it. So I hope you enjoy. And if you want to support this podcast in any way, shape, or form, just make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, and that's pretty much it. Maybe use our Shopify link too to start your own Shopify store if you haven't done so already. It will all be in the description. And without further ado, here is the podcast. All right, man. Well, welcome, Aistis. I am really happy to have you here. We've been talking for a long time, and we've been actually talking about doing a YouTube video for a long time, but now we're finally putting it into action. So I'm really excited to have you here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I mean, we were kind of just talking there, and our calls was kind of unusual. I would say not really actionable, but they were just kind of to exchange value. And we were, kind of just talking around. Like, if we would record them just casually, it would be pretty good podcast alone.
So
I'm
true.
happy to finally have a chance to record it.
Me too. That's a great way to put it. So, yeah, man. I mean, for those of you that are watching, obviously I do an intro for all these, so I'll introduce you already. But you have been someone that I've actually been secretly looking up to for a long time, ever since I met you at Noah Brewer's event. Because one of the things that stood out to me a lot was at that event. I mean, I'm sure you remember. This was 2022 or maybe 2023. I actually don't remember exactly. But
Something like that.
yeah, something like that. But I remember there was a lot of people there, and there was a lot of people, that came in their Lambos and their Porsches and just super extravagant. And then you were kind of just doing your own thing, just kind of chilling, just very calm, guy. But then we started talking, and you're like, yeah, we've done 100 million plus in revenue for clients. Oh yeah, we exited this brand that we got equity in for 5 mil. Just casually telling me all these things. I'm like, what? This guy's insane. So you're one of those operators in the background, like a secret killer, I would say, which is really cool. But I want to start off, if you wouldn't mind, where did you start your entrepreneur journey, man? I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, actually, I guess that was 2022 when we met in Phoenix, as long as I can remember. But yeah, the whole play was kind of just all around, and we were just casually exchanging value bombs with each other. Yeah, where I started, I started actually just through casually drop shipping. I'd say pretty casual start in ecom. I actually was looking at YouTube and stuff like that back then. The whole story that was I was into physical business. So I got into drones and shooting for real estate agents.
Mm.
But then the whole thing was that in Europe you're actually having pretty wild winters, and you won't shoot with drones and have those projects going on. So back then, I was like, okay, now I'll have to do something for the winter. And then I was looking online that Q4 and the winter is pretty good timing for ecom. So I was like, okay, I'll just kind of skip the whole droning business for the whole winter, for the whole Q4. I'll try to get myself into drop shipping or building some kind of a brand, just playing around, and I'm gonna see how to run Facebook ads and stuff like that. Because obviously, later on, if I'm not in ecom, I'll still be able to kind of use Facebook ads knowledge for my drone business. And I got into that. Obviously, the first few stores that I created, they were complete I probably did few orders. I got that first Shopify order notification on my iPhone, but apart from that, that wasn't too big. and then and yeah, basically all the drone business came back alive with the seasonality and everything. And but then it wasn't too hard. I mean, I was doing money and stuff like that, but it was like I knew that I won't scale that to like 100 mil, 200 mil, stuff like that. And I kind of took the the hard path, and I transitioned myself into like I take all the money that I'm doing from drones and putting that into drop shipping. Even if I don't make the money, I was just burning that.
What year
But
was
then I
this,
was
by the way? Sorry to
it was
interrupt.
like 2018, I
Mm.
guess. So not too bad in terms of timing. You could have been like just running static ads, doing like print on demand stuff, and then still make money. So I was just kind of doing that. But then I met this one friend. He was also doing something with ecom, like drop shipping. And then we said we need to get our hands on something, like more ad spend, more serious projects, some kind of brand, like serious business. Just because now we're kind of like, yeah, obviously we're learning, we're running business in the way, but it wasn't that serious, I would say. So then we kind of took on a few projects on ourselves, and it was just casually managing media buying back then.
Mm.
Um, and it went pretty well, I'd say. Like obviously back then it was way easier, but like we scaled one client from like it was drop shipping, but we scaled that from like spending 100 a day to like 5,000 a day, something like that. It was pretty wild back then for us. And then we said, okay, now we'll just take more of those. We'll keep on freelancing until we can build something serious like our own brand or agency or something like that. And then this one client came in. Now it's pretty big brand, but back then it was doing like around 100K a month in revenue. And they were they had pretty good offer, they had pretty good product. And then we said, okay, now we'll just put everything we have into that one brand. We all build out a case study out of that, and then we all build out the whole agency on that one case study.
Mm.
And we pitched them really hard. We closed them finally. We partnered up with Ad Creative Studio here in Europe, and we scaled that brand from like 100K to 1 million a month in like 60 days. And that was like our case study we were planning for.
Wow.
And then we instantly knew that that's where we start an agency. So we kind of got like from randomly running like drop shipping to kind of getting ourselves into agency space.
Wow.
And obviously, just because like we partner up with that ad creative studio, we saw an importance of ad creatives and how it can move the needle. So we started hiring for ad creatives, then CRO, then email, then SMS, then media buying on TikTok and Google, on top of Facebook, and then we kind of became a full stack agency where we had every like employee you would need for ecom and for scaling it. And and that was like around 2020. Obviously COVID happened. E-com sales started to go up, and all we did from 2020 to 2023, we were just kind of taking on brands doing like low numbers, but then looking for a great product market fit, and taking them from pretty much zero, I'd say maybe 100K a month maximum, that kind of revenue,
Mm.
all the way to 1 mil a month. So that was our kind of path, because obviously we wouldn't be able to take on like 8 figure 9 figure brand on board, just because like they might have someone in the house, freelancer, agency, whatever. But then we were just taking them at early stage, implementing all the full stack, like media buying, creatives, emails, offers, CMOs, that kind of package. And then we just skyrocket the growth. We write on case study, and then we take
Mm.
more. So that was that kind of thing. That went really well. I mean, we built that up, that agency up to like 7 figures in a matter of like a year. And then obviously the whole idea, of running our own brand was still alive, somewhere
Right.
in backdoor. We were just kind of looking at it. But yeah, we were kind of successfully running agency. A few years came by, and then we were thinking, we now we have cash flow business. It's going well. We have case studies. We have proven the concept. Let's just build something on our own. Finally, so then mid 2023, we started building the brand. Now it's exactly the year we are running that. First year we did like 3 million revenue, around 35% net profit. The whole thing we wanted to do there is just kind of build the profitable, like first purchase profitable brand right away.
Hmm.
We did that, and now we're just kind of building up from there. So scaling up that brand, obviously launching a few more, then kind of stepping into digital products as well. So kind of exploring ourselves into running our own ecom DTC brands slash digital products. So yeah, that's pretty much the story, and and how we did it.
Wow. See, this is what I mean, man. You make it sound so easy and simple, just how you explain it all. And I guess it is simple, but you've just been consistent. And what's interesting is you've done all this from Lithuania, right? Like that's where your
Yeah.
whole team is and everything, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the whole concept that we kind of took is that obviously the client that we scaled from 100K to 1 mil, the one that kind of was the first, success story for us. So they were also from Lithuania, and we kind of by scaling them, and now they're doing around like 50, 60 mil a year.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, so I mean that was pretty wild scale for them. But when we were looking at those kind of brands, we kind of just understood that it's way more than possible to build a brand here. A lot of talent. Obviously, we have like a lot of bigger brands like in e-com space from here, bigger companies, so we can kind of take their talent, train them, and use them in scaling our own. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the location.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge advantage in the sense that like you're getting a lot more talent for like, a fraction of the cost than you would in the US. How has that really helped in terms of building like a profitable business as opposed to just churning revenue?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like if we would be in the US and we would offer full stack, we would probably need like crazy personal brand on Twitter, or like I don't know, like crazy case studies, or I don't know, like something crazy to come up with to kind of charge to be above break even with that kind of service. Just because obviously with full stack you put in like anywhere from 5 to 10 people on the project. That's kind of heavy type of process driven work that you do there. And um and when we're in Lithuania, we can offer that for a really competitive price. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole concept
Yeah.
of full stack. If we would be in let's say US, UK, whatever, we would probably just narrow that down to just media buying, or just creatives or something.
That's a good call. I mean, one of the things that I mean, I'm an agency owner too now, and I've been following a similar path of like, okay, I got this cash flow, all this talent, now we're building stuff. I want to know, in your opinion, like what um, made you go back to that? Because at least for me, I'm starting to see, okay, we're scaling these clients up, and they're making 200K a month profit, and they're paying us, let's say, 10K a month out of that, which is obviously amazing. I'm super grateful for that,
Yeah.
and we're learning, and we're not taking really any risk. But I'm like, we could do this too, right? Like we're already servicing these people and scaling them up. So I'm just curious, what made you want to go back to starting building brands? Was it the scalability, or just the fact that you have the team now?
I'd say like it was always an idea, but then obviously when we kind of went from running just drop shipping, like up to 10K a month stores, to kind of a case study where we went from 100K to 1 mil, then we got the leads. We kind of just dragged ourselves into that kind of business. It wasn't planned, I'd say. If we would be somewhere successful with just drop shipping at the first start, I would
Mm-hmm.
probably say I'd be just brand builder, drop shipper, whatever. But it kind of just happened organically. We went into that business, And yeah, it was, quite fun. But then we were kind of subconsciously building the whole thing in a way where somewhere in the whole game we'll still be, brand owners.
Yeah.
So yeah, we built full stack. That kind of made sense to run our own branches because like you have, all the internal team, studios, like, every asset you can, just imagine, um, in house. So yeah, I mean, I guess that just happened subconsciously, kind of starting from dropshipping, dragging ourselves into like, agency, and then building that agency in a way where, it makes sense to run the brands once you have some cash flow.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. When Jeff Bezos said like he just built, the bookstore, and it happened to be like logistics company,
Yeah.
e-com company, and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the same for us. It's kind of, you just start from one point, you get good at it, and then you just build from there.
I love that, man. That's such a great analogy. And I think, at least for me, what's really fun about owning an agency is being able to see all the stuff that, like, just having all this data basically to back up, your strategies or even just give you confidence. I'm curious when it comes to like a beginner watching, because obviously we're talking a lot about business and whatever, but a lot of people watch me for specifically they want to like build a dropshipping business or an e-commerce business. What do you think is the biggest difference between like somebody that's kind of failing and somebody that, like, because you said you used to work with clients that were at like basically almost nothing and scaling them to 100K plus.
Yeah.
What is that difference?
I'd say timing. I
Mm.
mean, I had multiple discussions with founders, where let's say now they're running like nine-figure brands, but whenever I, ask them if they'd build that from zero, from the ground up, let's say in 2024, like 99% of them, they see no. So yeah, I mean,
Wow.
that's probably timing. And I mean, like, building out those little momentum points in your ad account where, let's say, you find some kind of a trend, you find some kind of a, like, winning ad that takes you some kind of engagement, or you just tap on some kind of complete different offer, and you're, like, you're the only one running on it. So yeah, I would say it's just like that kind of dropshipping mentality of just looking for the right timing, and then just building out a brand out of that. Just because obviously, I mean, if you have the great product, and like, the great service, whatever it could be, even as like some kind of physical business, you just have that, but then you reach certain point in business where you just skyrocket the growth, and then for you it looks like, you just find like, great winning ad, and then, some kind of landing page, or just some kind of thing that you did, but in the whole sense of like, economy, markets, like how they're moving, trends and stuff like that. You just basically build a creative that's good enough for that,
Mm-hmm.
market, I'd say. So yeah, I mean, timing is the most important in my opinion, and then the second thing is obviously product. Just because, like, those two, they go, with each other. And I mean, if you want to have timing but have a great product, no one will buy it. If you have, great, timing but then have a poor product, you will just have that for a few months, and then you won't be able to constantly, grow month over month.
Damn.
So yeah.
That's brilliant. I think that's an amazing answer, bro, because, and you also referenced the drop shipping mentality, but I think it's a great answer because a lot of people get stuck and they're kind of trying so hard to stay afloat, and like you said, sometimes you just got to realize like maybe you need to switch something up, right? Like if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you're not getting results, chances are it's bad timing, the product is trash, your ads are trash, the offer's not good. Like there's so many variables. So yeah, timing is
Yeah,
of
I
the essence.
mean, it's just like, sometimes you do, like, especially as an agency, you do, like, let's say 100%. I mean, you take all the knowledge, all the templates, all the low hanging fruits. You take, the world class, ad creative, you do all the custom landing pages and stuff like that, and you do that for, let's say 3 brands in the same month, and then somehow like one of them takes like, from 0 to like 100K a month, and
Mm-hmm.
then the other one is just struggling to hit like their first 10K months. So I mean, that's probably timing, right?
Yeah, so true, man. I've seen that a lot too. So, what's when it comes to all the revenue that you guys have pulled in for brands, what's like a big struggle that you think some brands have, right? Because you guys have pushed like 400 mil plus with just like paid ads. What? How come like not every brand is doing that? Like, why doesn't every brand, push millions?
um I mean, obviously, like I said, timing is the big one. But then, if we let's say have that in place,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like first one would be margin. I mean, a lot of brands, a lot of founders, whenever they start, especially if they don't have experience in ecom, they just kind of build out, amazing products in their head, but then their break even ROI is like 2.5 or 3x. Obviously, when you add up like all the, employees, like all the ongoing costs, overheads, and stuff like that, you could be at like 3x ROI that you need to hit. But then if your 3x ROI break even is just, your product, I'd say like 99% of chance you won't make it. So yeah, I mean, having a great margin, um, and obviously having a great product at the same time, that would be, probably the most important one in terms of, apart from timing. Then I'd say like the creative. So basically, like if you have great product, great, packaging, stuff like that, and then you have the margin, but then your, creative doesn't represent that, you won't go that far. So yeah, I would say like, connect your great product with the great ad creative, and then you'll go, pretty far. Just because like when you think about ecom DTC brands in general, and what kind of business you're actually in, you are basically in a business where, you need to kind of stand out. Just because like you obviously have Amazon, you have eBay, you have all those marketplaces, you have retail, and then you kind of pop up in some kind of like Facebook feed of like random people, and then all you have to do is just stand out. And I mean, that's pretty much creative. And let's say whenever you look at dropshipper running the same product for 3 times more than Amazon, like how they do that, how they scale on that is just through having amazing creative and landing page offers, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, creative, and then the offer. So the offer is really important one, like how you structure it, and it's not only the pricing itself. A lot of people, they still think that that's that,
Mm.
but that's the way you position it. That's the angle you take. That's, the way you handle objections. That's the way you obviously price that. That's the way you discount that, and multiple different things. So yeah, I'd say like, whenever you manage your cost per click issues and expectation of the website visitor issues with your creative, with your product, with your margin, I'd say then just focus on the offer itself. If you have the great one, you'll get to keep all your margin, but at the same time, stand out, in with creative, and then with offer, and then you just go from there. So yeah, to summarize, um, margin, creative, offer, and then, if you have that with good timing, I don't see like why you can't scale.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. That's a really great framework. So in your opinion, like what makes a good product? Is it just, well, yeah, margin, timing, those are a few things. Um, but what else? Is it functionality? Is it just like demand? Like, and that's it? Like, how would you reduce it down in like, fundamental terms? Because I know you're pretty much naturally doing that all the time, I feel like.
I don't know, man. Like, it's just, I'd say like there are some products that are just random buys, like emotional type of buys, especially like fashion, apparel, accessories, jewelry, stuff like that. It's nothing more than just emotion and then visual. So if I'd say like you need to solve some kind of problem and I'd say like jewelry, I would be like completely out of my mind. So I would probably skip all those visual products just because like they are pretty straightforward. But if we're talking like about something more serious, like some gadgets, some like supplements, some skincare, that kind of stuff, um I'd say like a product that people not only want but then they need. Just because like you know a lot of people, they kind of sell products and then they say, oh, a lot of people want my product. But then a want and a need are two completely different things.
Mm.
um and in my example, one of the recent ones, I wanted to go to like to grab a coffee with my friend in the city center. He just invited me, but I didn't go just because I need to change my tires from winter ones to summer ones. So that's kind of the natural comparison you do in your own head on like what you want and what you need. And if let's say you're selling some kind of, I don't know, product that they, it looks cool, they want it, but then it's like it's awesome, and then the new iPhone comes up, and they do their launch. They'll instantly just value that more than your product just because like yours, it just looks cool, but then iPhone, it's an instant buy for them. They need it.
Mm-hmm.
It's social aspect of it. It's features. It's all the benefits it can bring. It's what they use daily. So yeah, I'd say like even if you have the pretty basic product, look for angles, for ways, and for building out offers and thinking through your funnels in a way where you can build it for an actual need, not only
Mm-hmm.
a want. And that can happen in multiple different ways. I mean, you can have just a simple like you can sell a shoe, and that could be like formed in a way where they'll just want it. But then at the same shoe can be changed angles, changed creative stuff like that offer, and then it could be the way they buy it for a need.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, that probably.
That's huge. I think that's a really like good like first principles way to look at it, because recently I was actually watching this interview of the Telegram founder, and funny enough,
Hmm.
like he, I mean, he's got a pretty crazy story, and he got like exiled from his country, and like his he had to drop his main product, which was like the Facebook of Russia, and the government was looking into all his messages all the time and like bothering him, basically trying to like you know violate his privacy. And he was like, wait, I really need a message, like a way to message to people I know that's like encrypted and that nobody can access, right?
Yeah.
Like that the government can access. So he's like, wow, I just discovered like a massive need. Like I actually need that. Like it wasn't just like, I would really want this. Like he literally needed it. So I think that's such a good way to put it, man.
Yeah, I mean, and those could be like as small as like like some kind of accessory in your daily life. Actually, one of them was like I was drinking some water, and I'm actually doing that from from the standard like cups that you can find retail, whatever. But then that's the plastic one or metal one, I can remember, but basically that's pretty standard. And I'm like, I would love to drink just simple water from a glass, but then I cannot do that just because like I would drink that in like 15 minutes, and I'd need to go to to fill that up in 15 minutes. So, and I'm thinking like, but what if I have, let's say, the whole set where I have the tube, I fill that up with water, and through that tube I'm filling up my glass. And I'm thinking like, oh shit, I need that, and it's pretty small. It still has that type of emotional aspect of it. It looks cool, it sounds cool, but then it somehow touches my part of the brain where I'm saying I need it.
Wow.
So I guess it's just a matter of you looking at your product and finding those touch points in people's life, how they could need that your product. Because like and I would say like the easiest part to do that is like look how they spend their time, just because usually how they spend their time, they spend their money. And perfect example of that would be like if you're selling for some kind of like, let's say, weight loss product for for women over 40. um, and you're selling that on like heavy time investment type of products, let's say a course where you need to kind of set yourself for 2 4 hours a day and stuff like that. You won't probably sell them just because like they don't need that. They need a course where they can go through in like 15 minutes, and then the checklist does the job for them, just because like they are spending their time for the day for basically their kids. And
Mm.
if they go to park, if they go to this, go to that, they cannot listen for a few hours to your random course. So yeah, I mean, looking for in their daily life, looking for points where you can actually fill in your product and touch that need. I'd say that that would be the way to start it.
Well, I love that you mentioned too, like it can be a really small thing. Because yeah, even when I think about even my life or just a lot of people, for example, like you mentioned, okay, just like basically like a water container, right? But a need could be even as simple as like somebody that really cares about the aesthetics of their work area of their house, right? Like you don't want just like a
Yeah.
plastic weird looking container, like maybe just a really well designed clean like water container like that fulfills a need for someone that cares about that. That's a
Yeah,
really
and
interesting framework, man.
if I'm looking at it as an example, whenever I buy something for my desk, I'm kind of feeling, first like few days, like first, maybe even few weeks, I'm feeling, kind of more motivated to do my job. I recently bought this new keyboard and I'm like, oh, that's, way more exciting to work. So, if you find those little, touch points that you can run your creatives on, sell your products on. I guess those are the key ones. Just because like if you would say you need this keyboard because like it has some cool design and some cool features, I'd say okay, that's nice, but then it will go for $300, and this month I'm gonna spend my $300 on some random shit, but not the keyboard. But then if you would say, imagine your first few weeks after you get this new keyboard that looks, crazy on your desk, I'd say, okay. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, in those few weeks, it might be that I'll just earn more than 300 just through, feeling a bit more motivated.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those kind of touch points. That's why
Wow.
people actually buy.
I think like a lot of people will go over this, like this will go over their heads. But I think this is like so fundamental and important for people to like. It's always the mindset things, man. Like that like really make the biggest difference. I find it's not like the tactics, like specifically, but
Yeah,
like
for sure.
literally this like fundamental idea. So I love it. Now let me ask
Yeah,
you
because
a little
like
bit different. Actually, sorry, continue, and then I'll ask you.
yeah, just the last idea I wanted to give is like yeah, that's totally the mindset. Because like when I'm thinking about my whole journey, and like when you ask me like what's the difference between like just starting out like doing drop shipping to like scaling up those brands. I'd say the main difference is that like I get to see like dashboards doing like 2 mil a month, 5 mil a month, ad managers spending like crazy amounts of money on just on a daily basis on just casual ads that you make. And then the moment you see that, something clicks in your mind, and then you get to believe that it's possible. I'd say that that's the true like I'd say like that's the experience itself. Just because like you get to experience that kind of scale that you're dreaming, and that's I guess where you just kind of get confident about the whole thing you do, and then you just scale up from there. And I guess the whole thing in this journey is just to kind of look for those breaking points that you need to take on, and then look for a fast route of going through them. So if your first goal is to, let's say, make 100K, look for a fastest way to see some kind of dashboard or some kind of like outcome that's something someone gets for 100K through your job, through your something that you do. And I guess that's where the next goal comes in, the next goal comes in, and then you'll just keep on growing. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's super beneficial. I think people for that's why like for example learning these skills like media buying is really powerful because like a lot of people will hire you to run their ads if you price yourself like competitively and then you'll get a ton of experience which is amazing. Now let me ask you this though. I'm really curious because you're obviously a person that like you're very methodical, you have this like first principles type of mindset, like just simplistic. uh, how do you feel about lack of focus, right? Because that's one thing that I don't necessarily, I mean, I do struggle with this. I'm always coming up with new ideas, but I've still been able to make it work. Like I'm doing fine. But I'm just curious what you think, because obviously a lot of entrepreneurs would argue that by doing, let's say, an agency and a brand, like that's two different things, right? So you can't focus entirely on one. How do you navigate the lack of focus? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so I mean, lack of focus usually like I kind of I'm trying to catch myself in my own head. And whenever I think of something I want to do, and then my brain's and then I'm saying no, I don't want to do that, and then my brain starts to kind of talking myself into doing that stuff. Then I know that that's where I'm losing my focus. Just because like as an example, recently I really wanted to launch like one product to test that sound like a great one on paper. And but then we had this one that was already spending money, that was already doing like 600 700 a day. And then my brain was like, yeah, but I mean, we are doing this 600 700 a day for like a few weeks. Imagine like this new one, it could do like 5 times that in just a matter of a week. Just run it, just give it a shot. And then that's the moment where I kind of knew that's where I'm losing my focus. So I'm just kind of trying to stay out of that. Actually, that's pretty tough one, especially when you're running agency and running brands at the same time. Just because like agency is pretty clients heavy type of business, where every time you just talk to the new one, new potential one, you get to see like a ton of ad accounts, ton of ideas are constantly around you. So that's a tough one. And then at the same time, with your brands, you're constantly talking, thinking about like new creative, new like new product to test, and complete different niche, and the way you expand, and stuff like that. So I guess like I guess when you're having those two, agency and the brand, that's nearly impossible to not to lose focus. You'll still lose that somehow. But I'd say catching yourself at the moment where when your brain starts to kind of talk to you into that idea is really important. And then you just kind of put everything you have on the table, and then consider like why you should do that. Because sometimes that might be beneficial, sometimes that might be you're just losing focus for a sake of losing focus. So
True.
so yeah, I guess there's no right answer. You just you
It's
just
a daily
gotta.
battle for everybody,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really important one. I mean, if you're losing that battle, you might get dragged onto some bad stuff. And I mean, I definitely had like at least probably 3 4 5 months when I'm just I got dragged myself into those kind of like losing focus type of moments, and nothing got improved. And I'm like, after those 5 months, I'm sitting at my desk and thinking like, where did I lose my 5 months?
Mm.
So yeah, it's really burning you time, even if you think you are actually getting something valuable out of that.
Very true, man. Very true. I don't know how, but I really like that you mentioned, like, even as a brand, let's say you're focused all in on a brand, you still are probably running into that same struggle. Maybe you should just focus more on your one product that's really working, but your mind's thinking, oh, let me expand into this, into that, which in a way is
Yeah, I
still
mean,
diverting focus.
kind of like probably 70% of brand owners I had to talk, like they are all looking for that one big idea. I mean, they're constantly like looking for for that one thing that will just move the whole business in a direction of like like the scale they want it to be. But in the whole theory and on paper, like how ecom DTC brand is you just take every part of it and then you just improve every part of it by 10%. That's ecom DTC brand. I mean, if you're a drop shipper, if you are, I don't know, like other business owner, then that's not totally true. But it's really important to understand in what business you are in, and if that's ecom DTC brand, like branded, product, then you're just improving every part of it by 10%, and then you're just snowballing on it. No way around it. So yeah, if you are just looking for, as the brand owner, you're still looking for that one big thing, you're probably losing focus.
True. Wow, that's really interesting. So now you're also selling digital products too. You have a digital product store that's actually
Yeah.
tied to your agency, which is really brilliant. How has that been? That's pretty recent, but is that opening up ideas for how powerful digital products can be for you?
I guess that connects pretty well to the topic that we just discussed, because like we were talking about like losing focus and that one big thing in ecom, and actually that's probably the way it came as like digital product. I was looking at the market and I saw like those ecom founders like looking for that one big thing that will move them somewhere, some bigger numbers, and I saw like how they kind of struggle to execute on that big idea. They they get to that idea and then they spend like 2 3 months just to execute that one, and then after those 2 or 3 months, they see that it wasn't worth it, and then they just burn their time and their resources. As an example, I had this one client which came and then they say like, oh, we custom coded this website, we spent like 40K and then half a year for the website. And I'm like, have you tried running ads? He's like, yeah, I did that. What's your conversion rate? Conversion rate is like below 1%. And I'm like, so you spend half a year and more than 40K just on website that converts at less than 1%? He's like, yeah. So the moment I saw that and the moment I understood, the way people lose focus on focusing on that one big thing and then, kind of burning themselves that way, I saw that, it makes sense to kind of make them a shortcut, some kind of product that allows them to test that one big idea in a matter of, minutes, and then save them time. And even if they are not looking for that one big idea, that product could help for, just constantly testing, constantly, improving, um, but without, investing ton of time. Just because like ecom, whenever you run ecom brand, you just five different areas you need to focus on, constantly moving, constantly, changing. So yeah, that's how the digital product came in, which is like templates and Canva templates, landing page templates, stuff like that, for for a fraction of the price. If you go on like Canva templates, $54 for 100 of them, and you don't need to spend like multiple thousands on different agencies just to test like if statics are going to perform for you. Just hop in, change the headline, put on your product picture, and if that brings at least break even, then I guess you can test more, maybe hire those agencies. But then if that's like a complete flop, then probably that won't work even if you hire best possible agency in the world.
True. So then it
so
saves you
so yeah.
money in the long run
Yeah.
too, and
Yeah,
time.
so that's how it came. That's how it came. And I mean, like, again, I actually lost my focus on that product, to be honest. And that was live for probably a year. We had it somewhere, kind of hovering. 1 month we spent like a few hundred on ads. We don't get anything, and then we just kind of forget it. So I just took that seriously, actually, like probably a month ago, a few months ago. So yeah, took it, launched it, kind of took it seriously, took my focus into that, and now it's doing like probably around 3K a day in revenue. on average. And being digital product, it's probably around 50% profit.
That's huge, bro. So that's I've been seeing a lot of your ads actually for that ever since you probably started taking it seriously. And what
Yeah.
they remind me of is like TikTok style content. Like you got AI mixed in there, you got like crazy hooks in there, like the briefcase. I've been seeing the ads.
Yeah, I mean
They're
that's the
really
whole
good.
thing. I mean, like the way I kind of looked at it is like if I'm showing them the ad that might be not like best possible selling ad, I'm not sitting like, in this kind of environment professionally talking to like to the microphone and then, getting through some kind of podcast just to buy some kind of product. I knew that I need some kind of like relatable stuff for them. And if I make that, funny enough and then kind of professional enough, that alone will sell the actual product. Because like if my ad is like, in their eyes looks like, a perfect ad, I won't need to sell through my landing page. I can charge whatever I want just because like they'll see that I'm capable of creating that good ad and then they'll just buy. So that was the whole idea, just to kind of stand out, not be, that standard ecom guru type of ad, which is like, professional, this and that, script heavy, and just to kind of stay out of that and just focus on ecom type of ads for the digital product selling to ecom founders. So
That's so clever.
yeah, that kind of logic behind.
Yeah, that's some good logic, I would say. So I'm curious when it comes to your. This is sort of a personal question, I guess, but when it comes to building a creative team like you have, how many people do you have that are making ads? Because I'm assuming you're not in there like yourself making the ads, right?
I mean, I like to be inside. To be honest, like not actually not on all, not on all of them, but at least on like internal projects, a few clients that need help. That's for sure. I mean, I like to write copy,
Mm.
just because like that way I can kind of improve my English a bit, improves my language skills, at the same time improves my marketing. So I'm kind of just setting, let's say, an hour a day just to write copy. It could be as simple as like UGC script, to all the way to like 10-minute VSL. So yeah, I mean, I like to do that, but whenever it comes to a team, I'd say there are few different stages, and I guess here it would be helpful for both agency owners and brand owners. So when it comes to agency, we had like pretty basic setup. We had like one creative director, then we had like two senior videographers. They were mainly responsible for gathering raw footage, either from UGC creators or from studio, from lifestyle shots and stuff like that. And then we had like 3 or 4 video editors. And then we were testing a couple of copywriters slash script writers, but then we kind of connected that with our senior videographer because like he's responsible for gathering all that raw footage. So so yeah, that was kind of the team. Then the moment we start our own brands, we figure out that we don't need that much of the team. We can easily get all the assets done with just one guy for both video and static if he's good enough. So we actually cut down a bit just because obviously when we scaled up our brand, we moved a bit from clients to focusing more on our own brands. So yeah, we cut our team a bit. We were left with two those two senior videographers and then one editor. That was it, and then actually one designer for statics. So yeah, that's kind of the team. But I guess the main thing to take out from here, whenever you run your ecom brand, your main expense is not people. I mean, it's ad spend. So, and I guess that's probably the main mistake we did. We were thinking that, yeah, we have a full stack team. Now we'll just, scale one brand to like 5 mil a year. And then we will be able to, kind of hold all the team from an agency on that 5 mil a year revenue. And that was, totally wrong. I mean, the whole thing you spend on is just ads, product, and then if you want to grow, then reinvest the money back into the product and more ads.
Mm,
And then yeah, just keep it lean, I'd say, in terms of ecom brand. Have like few freelancers or just one full time if you're not doing like 5 mil 10 mil a year. So
smart.
yeah, now it's kind of like I'd say like if you're let's say running 5 people team, you would need to make like probably at least like 3 to 5 mil a year. So
That
so yeah,
makes
think
sense,
of it
man.
as like
Like in-house
seven.
team, you're saying.
Yeah, I mean like 700K revenue per head, I'd say.
700K revenue per head. That's that's interesting. That's a lot.
That's how you scale. I mean, like if you have great margin and then you keep it like lean, and then 700K per head, even if that's you handling majority of that, I mean, think of like your valuations and stuff like that.
True.
A lot of people just overspend on team, I'd say.
That's a good call, man. Especially now, that's gonna become even more viable with AI. How are you guys using AI these days? Are you using it a lot or no? Not yet.
We do use AI for a bit, but then it's just mainly to kind of cut corners in a way that it makes sense.
Right.
I'd say it doesn't make sense to cut corners on like copywriting, script writing, hooks, psychology, and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like, let's say, research, gathering data, you know, looking for certain, answers on your, I don't know, like audience, then that's for sure. I mean, that helps a lot.
Mm. Yeah, I guess you can feed it for. Yeah, that's one thing that's really pretty interesting is like finding out your ideal demographic, like customer avatar through feeding it like reviews or whatever. Those are interesting things to use
Yeah,
it for.
yeah. I mean, I was thinking to release maybe some kind of like, just because like there are a lot of prompts that are kind of average ones, but I was thinking to release some kind of system which is more like psychology driven for marketing ecom DTC brand, and then kind of focusing on questions like deeper ones like that kind of lets you create those kind of offers we were talking about, angle driven, specific angle, specific problem, looking for a need, stuff like that, and then using AI to kind of gather all that, and then create that perfect offer. So I was thinking to kind of create something like that. It could be possible just because like technically AI is kind of good enough to get you that data through a couple of prompts. But yeah, I'll probably need to test that a bit more.
Plus, it's only getting better from here. That's kind of the thing that's exciting about it. But hey, if you do that, hit me up because that'd be a good collaboration type of product and a chemi
Yeah, for sure.
candy collaboration.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in terms of AI, like I've heard somewhere that the current AI is smarter than our smartest, person in the world, and it's still starting up. And I'm not sure in terms of IQ, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely smarter right now.
Right.
So obviously, like the main like thing I would say in terms of marketing, ecom, and growth, and how AI could help you, and where you would need to be careful on is just like emotion and psychology and stuff like that. Just because like that's like it can easily work on data, work on specific research points and gathering stuff. But when it comes to like where people will read, or where they can feel, or where something is happening with people interacting with the stuff that you create with AI, be careful on that.
True. Makes sense, man. I also heard that yeah, right now AI is smarter than basically the smartest human, and then in like 2028 around there, AI will be smarter than all the humans combined, which is
Yeah.
kind of insane to think about. It's almost scary at that point because, but that's where people are a little bit. Yeah, it becomes a bit controversial, but yeah, man, I think it's only gonna get better from here. So might as well start kind of mastering it in one way or another.
Yeah, and people they still run interest targeting on Facebook, thinking that Facebook is too dumb to make decisions for them. Where, I mean, if you compare, let's say AI like ChatGPT and Facebook algorithm is running for way more than ChatGPT. So I mean, it has way more data than that.
True, actually, it's so much
So
older. Oh yeah, by the way,
yeah,
actually, I wanted to tell you about this since our last call because you told me to test out Advantage Shopping Plus campaign with cost caps with TikTok
yeah,
content. I didn't test it yet. I'm gonna this week, but somebody in the Akemi accelerator, just said that they tested it and they got really, really good results. Like not super consistent yet because obviously that's the nature of cost caps. If you're not getting good results, it's
yeah.
not going to spend a lot. But they seemed very optimistic. They had been struggling for a while, so that seems to be a very simple and good strategy. So I'll have to test it more myself, but I wanted to let you
Yeah,
know
it's
about it.
kind of letting that algorithm do its job in a way. But I mean, for a C plus cost caps, I would probably just script and plan ads, just because like with that kind of setup, it makes more sense.
Right.
But if that's, let's say, all the seeding content, all the gifting content that you get, I just run that on the more basic type of setup and on cost caps. And I'd say the main thing there is just scale on creatives. So run like 200, 300 creatives.
And then you said in a
That's,
basic setup, as in like just a normal, let's say CBO, like broad.
yeah, I mean, it could be CBO broad on cost cap. If that's a C plus cost cap, yeah, I'd just focus on maybe less creative, but then the killer ones like proven to work. If that's CBO broad cost cap, I'd just put in like all the gifting content I have pretty much.
And what about cost cap? What would you put the cost cap at? Like, let's say your break even margin or a little bit below that.
I mean, just test it. Depends on the creative you have. Depends on the offer, how it works, and stuff like that. And you just gotta find the sweet spot. I would say. I mean,
Where would you
sometimes you
start
just
though?
typically I just set up let's say 5 ad sets with different ones.
Mm,
I'd set up like I'd probably start from higher ones actually, not like something shooting below my target CPA. But yeah, I would do like my target CPA, then $5 more than that, then $10 more than that, 15, 20, stuff like that. And yeah, probably just look at, which one spends more and then optimize based on that. And then, you just the longer you run those cost caps, the better you can optimize. Sometimes you can even shoot for below your target CPA once you have some data.
true. Would you just dump more creatives into something like that as you make them, or how would you approach new testing
Depends on the
creatives?
setup. Like, I mean, typically I don't like to use cost caps for testing. To be honest,
Hmm.
the whole idea I set out to use like for gifting and for seeding type of content that you get. Just because usually you scale on that, you do like 200, 300, 500 collabs a month, and then that's ton of creatives that's being left untested.
Yeah.
So for that, I definitely just dump the everything I have on cost cap. But if that's if you script, if you put in your time, if you kind of do the research, think through hooks, data driven creatives that you do, then just force some spending to it. I
Right.
mean, why not?
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna test that more, but bro, I think this is probably a good time to start wrapping it up. We're getting close to the hour. I think this call's probably gonna end soon. But
Yep.
man, I think we got to do this again. Well, we should do this again for the accelerator because I know you're in the Chemilab Discord and I've seen you in there, but I think people would love or would benefit a lot from just like your knowledge and wisdom and experience on a more like personal level. But this has been amazing. Like you said, it's kind of similar to our normal conversations where we just talk and like kind of value dump, but
Yep.
finally, we got to record it. So I appreciate you taking the time, man. It's been really valuable.
Yeah. I hope it's recorded, doesn't crash, the voice is okay,
Yeah,
and I'm looking okay. And then yeah, let me
yeah, you
know
look
when
good.
live. I'll answer some questions, guys, if you have those in the comments. And yeah, let's do something in Discord.
Where should people find you if they wanna reach out to you? I'll leave it in the description.
Probably Twitter. Aistis notes. It's pretty good idea to reach out there, or LinkedIn. So yeah, I'll just drop both links in for
Awesome.
you.
Perfect, man. Well, thanks so much. Hope you. What time is it over there? Is it nighttime in Lithuania?
6:20 p.m.
Oh, okay. Nice. So probably winding down now. The day's just beginning for me, so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'll still have a few calls now when we're scaling up those digital products. I mean, like 5-6 calls a day just with like potential clients. So that's kind
Oh
of wild.
man, that's a lot. That's a lot. But hey, you gotta work hard to make good money, especially these days.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, man.
Cool, man. Thanks for hopping on.
Of course, you too. Have a good one.